talking a financial commitment that
Yes,
my
absolutely.
budget's been cut for the last couple of years. I took a significant hit this year, so to be honest, as much as we'd love to do that, I don't see that.
Well, that's good to know, because these are some of the concerns of the commission, and certainly it's at our it's subject to our interpretation. What does it mean to provide park and recreational facilities that meet the diverse needs of residents and visitors of all ages? If I think coming off of the 4th of July weekend, the town has done a lot for the summer crowds. There's a tremendous amount of amenities on our town property down there. Where I tend to compare the Park and Rec space with this park and the boardwalk to the Main Street. And for me, for instance, you can walk a dog on Main Street and the sidewalks are 4 or 5 feet. We've got the no dogs thing in the park, which, to me is, I'd love to see progress in those, on those fronts, rounding out the year, rounding out the seasonal access, the year-round access, or finding ways to try to restore some of the privileges that town people had. Like, a lot of people would walk their dog down on they call it the dog beach.
Yeah.
Cheney Beach was a dog beach. Because it was nice that there was no oversight and people would go down there. Presently, we are observing that state statute. When we have staff there, people can still bring dogs down at night, and I'm personally skeptical of the threat that dogs have to the swim water. I mean, even if it did get out of if the dog waste got out of control and into the water, it's still compared to the bacteria counts we already have. I mean, we've closed beaches for just bacteria, and we don't have any dogs, Well, so
we're following the state regulation
Right.
on that, and with an opinion from our legislature too, that it is an adjacent area. So if
Right.
that changes, then I would definitely look to open it. Now Bride Brook does have a walking path out there that you can bring your dogs out, and we do have doggy bag stations out there for people to pick up after and stuff. So we have tried to do that, and then that Memorial Day to Labor Day has always been going back to a long time with no dogs in the park.
okay.
I have a question for clarification. You said Cheney Park has temporary bathrooms? Why isn't this money taken for permanent ones?
Right, that money's already been appropriated with a steep grant. So there's been $500,000 that the town was awarded through a steep grant to put bathrooms in there. That'll start. to
So
happen
why
this fall.
isn't that being worked on? This is being rushed real quick. I'm not
That's a $500,000 project that requires a lot of engineering.
Right, but
This is
this,
a-
seriously,
Paul would like to say something.
2 days later, zoning is gonna have a public hearing, and I don't think it was fair to the planning commission. I think we needed time to digest all this. Just my
apologies,
opinion.
that was-
Well, and Gary's not here either, our planning chairperson.
Right, and I can just tell you, Joan, as a matter of the 824 referral that this is, you are correct. Zoning was moving on it. Zoning is moving this Thursday on it, or at least starting the conversation. I just want to read from our agenda here. If we have this hearing, the failure of the commission to report within 35 days after the date of the official submission of the proposal to it for a report shall be taken as an approval of the proposal. So had we not met tonight, zoning would have interpreted it as an approval of the application.
When was this submitted?
I imagine within the last 30 days.
Imagine, or do we have a fact?
What I do know is,
Probably 10 days, a week ago.
okay,
there.
there you go.
So we had 35 days. Why weren't we given 35 days?
Let me see how that is worded. If we had not met, zoning is allowed to act.
But it
nothing will stop
wasn't
them.
submitted 35 days ago. I mean, it was, he just said, it very recently.
Okay, let me clarify. So if Mr. Putnam had submitted this last week and the commission had waited more than 35 days to render a decision,
Mhm.
we would have missed the opportunity to report on it.
Well, maybe you can,
So we are in that window of time now.
mm-hmm.
If we close business tonight with a motion, that motion will make it to the zoning record.
So why did zoning go ahead and rush this and put it on their agenda when we were not given the proper time?
I can't answer that, but I
Well,
will say.
Barry is not here. Again, maybe Holly could help me here.
I'm just taking a couple of the items you discussed, as Mr. Putnam said.
Holly, do you mind speaking from the, we got a mic up there for you, sorry, just so everyone can hear clearly.
Hi, Holly Cheeseman, Board of Selectmen. As Mr. Putnam has stated, this was put on the capital improvement plan 3 years ago, and capital improvement plans are voted on at town meeting, and it was approved. Obviously, in these tough financial times, it's in the town's interest to find partners to help pay for this. So our initial $75,000 investment has now been reduced to $15,000. With regard to your comment about the bathrooms at Cheney Park, the money is there. The issue is it's a floodplain. We now need to raise those bathrooms 12 feet high. So you're looking at, if it has to have handicapped access, elevators, it's a significant engineering issue. Simply, just because the money's there doesn't mean it's going to happen. I do not know exactly about the timing, but as I said, this is something that has been in the work for 3 years. It has been known we were going forward, and as the money is in there now, I suspect the desire is, as the town has approved this in concept by appropriating the money, that it would be nice to build it. I know, speaking as at the Children's Museum, to have a venue where, as Mr. Putnam suggested, there could be plays for children, movies for children, all those activities taking advantage of the town. I'm sure that East Lyme Youth Theater would love to perform there. Having classical concerts there would be ideal. I don't think all the uses are going to be create huge amounts of noise. I think they're going to enhance both the visitor experience and the local residents' experience. If you look at other towns who are able to provide this kind of facility, it's a plus, not a minus.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have one or two questions. Where is the children's playground in relationship to this?
So the children's playscape area, so this is the proposed
Right.
here. This is the upper bathroom, and then so the playscape area is right in here.
Okay.
So it's still in the upper lot.
Is the gate going to be open to come in from the street?
During the events, that's what our,
Okay,
that's our intent,
all right.
yes, correct.
Because it's not pleasant going up the little.
Right, absolutely.
And so just to try to paint the picture of the use and how will the park be different if this is constructed?
So our intent is for our concerts to be from 6 to 8. So when we do have concerts, we allow access to the park we open it up to the public for any of our special events like the movie nights or the concerts and stuff. So I wouldn't see any real change in that, just maybe bringing more events to the park.
Okay.
So, we already do the movies, we already do the concerts, but we don't do plays in the park. We don't have the children's theater, East Lyme Regional Theater doesn't use it, but I would imagine some of those uses as well.
What are you gonna do with the old building where they had the concerts before?
That picnic pavilion will stay.
With the dim lights and all the repairs it needs?
Yeah, we don't have, we don't even have lights there. We have a street light that's right there.
Mhm.
But that's why we're envisioning our programs to be 6 to 8. People can still exit the park while it's still light out. Not to say if we do have night events, we bring some light towers in to light up those areas.
How tall is this? Will it block the ocean view?
It's 21 feet at the highest, and it sits down.
Mhm.
So it sits down,
So
so
you-
if you're
it's
up
down
on
the
the,
slope.
yeah, it sits down on the hill, so if you're looking out, the only place that would really block it from is if you're behind it over in here, which we
Mhm.
have very few usage of it over here, that's kind of right next to the railroad tracks and the path that goes up.
And how are you gonna prevent the natural erosion up there, which has been going on for years?
On the path area, we have a new road that's been put in there that was graded really great. We've had a little bit of erosion, but not like we had in the past. With the new boardwalk, and then them using this as a construction laydown area,
Mhm.
when they pulled out, I don't know if you've seen behind the hole in the wall back up, we have a
Mhm.
beautiful road now.
Yeah, it is.
It's actually very walkable and so very little erosion, so that'll, I can imagine how it continues, once the grass continues to grow in, which we've had a really good growing spring.
Mr. Putman, with this venue that you're presenting to us tonight, if there would be an outside source from another community for a group that would want to come in to perform in here, would it be amenable to the town to charge whatever?
Without quite, we do the same thing
I-
with
I
the
know-
pavilion rental.
yes, no, I
right?
know that,
So
but-
certificate of insurance, absolutely, and then yes, to bring in, it could be to bring in some revenue, absolutely.
Yeah, and it will bring in revenue. Right, I understand that. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? So, in the spirit of working towards a motion that we'd put together, I just want to reiterate, and if anyone has another objective they'd like to add, feel free, but I'll reread 3.3 is promote wise use of land in the coastal area, which recognizes the importance of the town's coastal resources and existing water-dependent uses. Objective 4.2, preserve the tradition of public access to East Lyme shoreline, while weighing such access against the need to protect sensitive shoreline and inland water resources and rights of property owners. And 5.1, to provide park and recreational facilities that meet the diverse needs of residents and visitors of all ages. So, I don't want to introduce and muddy the water too much, but to me, it would be an opportunity to speculate a little bit on where the park is going to be in a few years with the boardwalk. Do we have any sense of how much the visitorship has changed over last year, or where are any of those early numbers in? Are we looking at?
Yeah, a little bit. It's nice to have the whole wall parking lot back and full, if you know last year that was shut down only
Yes.
during the weekends that we were open it. So we have seen, especially when it first opened, it was great. We had a ton of people down there and stuff. So what happens with that is our boardwalk usages, and I hope I'm answering your question, are early in the morning
Okay.
and in the evening. And our beach usage is during the middle of the day. So and when it was first opened 10 years ago, we were going to have an issue with parking.
Mhm.
And it really didn't happen because those people that were using the boardwalk were out by 8:30, 9 o'clock because it got too hot to walk after that. And then our beach crowd would come in. And then our beach crowd would leave at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and our boardwalk people would come back. So really, we see an uptake in that, but not not where we're not able to manage it. Does
Yeah.
that answer your question? Was that?
Yes, it does, and
Because that's what we're seeing with,
that's insightful, and I'm just kind of we're planning this pavilion now. My thought was that in a few years, if crowds go up, would we be looking back and saying, boy, why did we build such a small one, or why did we, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to me, it's kind of a year of transition.
I think that 6 to 8 time frame that I think mostly would be used
Mhm.
is kind of a low time for us during the week. And I can imagine us, we do concerts on Wednesday nights right now, and our movies are on Friday nights. So we try to stay away from that heavy weekend usage anyway, because people are up using the picnic areas, on the weekends till 6:30, 7 o'clock. Even though we'd have a built-in audience, we still like to do things during the week to get people to use the park. To be honest with you, on Wednesday nights and Fridays. So,
Right.
I don't think it's unmanageable, O'Brien. I was really nervous this weekend, and with the opening of the boardwalk and seeing the way our numbers are doing, but with the upper parking lot back, with the hole in the wall open 7 days a week now, it's actually been easier for us to be able to manage it. Because now people know when the parks are open, when you can access it, that kind of thing. So I'm not rambling too much.
Oh, no, I'm interested in
Questions?
all of these
Yeah.
issues and how they impact our main street and all that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
This to me, so with the intention of being 6 to 8, but it would also, there would be an opportunity for concerts to go later than that. Or
Yeah, I would think there's a noise ordinance, so we would
Right.
adhere to the noise ordinance, and we don't wanna go past 10 o'clock.
Right.
You know, we want it to be a family, bring your family, kids, summer concerts, on that beautiful view, on a gradual slope with an amphitheater, and really, create a nice family atmosphere for people to come and enjoy.
And as you said, you've looked at the whole site and tried to find the place where it had the least adverse impact to
Without-
residences.
And make sure the noise, hopefully, if we get complaints, it's gonna be from Orient Point.
Millstone.
That's the way it's going. It's pointed out that way.
I have one more question. We talked about the relationship of the taxpayers to the shoreline. Some of the shoreline access has been augmented by recent development. Some of it, such as the dogs, there isn't a designated place, and you described a committee that the first selectman is in the leadership position on, to find a place to restore dog owners a place in Niantic. Is that going to be a Park and Rec asset?
I would think after it's built,
Okay.
that we're gonna have the management of that. It just makes sense.
But
what we do. But the committee, they came to the Park and Rec Commission, a group of residents wanting a dog park. And Mr. Nickerson happened to be there, and he said, I will take this on, and so he's run with that. And I would imagine it's gonna come back to us, and we're gonna end up ultimately managing it, because it's gonna be on town property.
Right.
Which we're prepared to, we'd be prepared to do, and would be appropriate for us to do that.
Is there a sense of, you mentioned the capital improvements project and committees like that, is there a sense of priorities moving forward? If this is the next build for that parcel, what else is there anything on the horizon? Anything else in the works?
To be honest with you, I don't see, I hate to say that, besides the bathrooms at Cheney, which are really needed.
Yes.
With the porta potty. So besides that, after this, we have playscapes, we have, 3 restrooms that are pretty close at McCook, hole in the wall, and the upper one at McCook, and, Brian, I don't see anything
Okay.
down the road as far as structures are concerned.
What about winterizing the bathhouses at either Hole or
We could look
Cook?
at, I would think hole in the wall would be appropriate, just because it got access to the boardwalk there, and people use the boardwalk all year round.
Right.
Then it becomes a financial thing about the space heaters, running the space heaters, and then, we're gonna have to clean it and maintain it. So there is a cost associated with that. It's not in this year's budget. Not say that I can't put that into next year's budget and see where it goes. I don't have any issue with that. It would just be
Money.
a management point and money, right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't have that this year, it's not in this year's budget.
Go ahead, Rita.
I would just crossed my mind hearing this, that it would be such an appropriate issue to put paid bathrooms back in for as many years that they've been out.
Yeah.
I would go with my change.
Oh, to the,
Uh-huh.
I got it now.
See, that's youth.
Yeah. So it is something we can, I definitely look at. It's just a matter of, how the town's gonna support that financially.
Ms. Cheeseman, is there any chance that winterizing that hole in the wall bathhouse would make it onto the capital improvement? How would it make it onto the capital improvements list?
Well, it'd have to be over $10,000, so the operating part of it couldn't come under the capital.
Okay.
So the part of it that would come after capital is.
Basically, I know, the first selectman will meet with the department chairs and discuss things going forward.
Mhm.
Mr. Putnam made the case that, and obviously backed up by residents, that there was a real need for this. We'd have to look at a budget. I'm not saying it couldn't be included on a, in a budget, but again, it's a question of prioritizing.
Right. Yeah, and that would be my issue. I'm a little hesitant to prioritize more intensifying of the seasonal peak load stuff going on in Niantic when we have during the winter people walking their dogs, the dogs have a place to use the restroom in the park, but the people don't. And we have a relationship to the businesses downtown where they're posting signs, no bathrooms. You know, so
I wouldn't be adverse to, I think we could definitely, I could get some price quotes on what it would cost to install some heaters, and I'm not sure if we'd have to do a little bit more insulation. That's something for the engineering department to have to figure out.
years ago when Mr. Formica was here, I'd had a brief conversation, and I recalled it being something like $30,000 of potential hard cost to get the pipes winterized and provide point heaters, with an additional rider on you guys at Park and Rec to find someone in like December and January and February who wants to maintain it, clean it, make sure nothing out of control is going on there. To me, that to our point about a diverse needs of the residents with respect to your park, that's the next place for me that I see it going. Rounding out our year round, we have merchants who are in those shoulder seasons struggling, and anything that the town can do to say we're open.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a big bit of policy.
I certainly think, and I'm always promoting this, talk to other towns that have had similar issues, see what they've done, in terms of making those bathroom facilities available year-round, getting an idea of the cost, and whether they found there was in fact a demand. We might spend all this money and discover that two people, it is in fact the demand there, but it's certainly something that is worth looking at.
Oh, absolutely. And it's something I sit on the capital improvement committee, so I can definitely, put that in, and we can, when we start meeting, we can have those discussions about that.
Thank you.
See what comes out, definitely.
Do any other commission members have comments?
No, I'm still uncomfortable about the boundary
How
and
can I
the
make
survey.
I will make you as comfortable as I can. I will get Mr. Fanner to do it.
Okay, I feel that this is a select group of people. It's seasonal. I think money needs to go somewhere else, and if these organizations want to collect money, I think this isn't good for the taxpayers, really. And I think I've said that before. And the slope, we do have erosion there. That's why I asked about the erosion. Through the years, that has dipped further. Unfortunately, I am a native and have seen it just deteriorate slowly and slowly. And it's been too rushed for me. Sorry.
Just to address Joan's concerns about where this might be going, I know there's town property adjacent to the park at the VFW, behind the VFW.
Mhm.
That's kind of an unofficial overflow parking. It's used as parking by people who don't want to pay for the
That walk in, right.
that want to walk in. Is there anything on the horizon with the immediately adjacent to the park that's changing? Does the town have any plans for that parcel to develop that or
No.
pave it? Or
No, personally, I would hate to see that paved.
okay,
I think it should stay as an open grass area and used as open, for overflow parking.
okay.
I would hate to see us putting any more pavement or doing anything other than leave it the way it is. That's my own personal.
Right.
I
Because
don't see any improvements to that.
right, and I'm trying to think about where we're going to be in 5 years, and if parking becomes an issue in town, there's going to be these kinds of conflicts, and that's the parcel that's kind of on the chopping block. Or
So we did manage this. So this Monday,
Yeah.
yesterday was a perfect example because that lot filled up, but we managed it. We put an attendant up there, not to check passes, but just to make sure people were parking orderly. The year before, people were parked all over the place. People got boxed in.
Yes.
So we made that adjustment and we managed that appropriately. So that this year it was full. We were able to add more vehicles, accommodate more vehicles. Our upper lot did fill, but we did spill people over into a small grass area. So we accommodated everybody on July 4th weekend that wanted to go to the beach, which was really important for us. We didn't want to shut anybody out, especially those residents that bought a sticker.
right.
We want to make sure that we find a spot for them. So that's our busiest day of the year was Monday, and we were able to accommodate all of that with what we had. And then obviously the next one will be Celebrate East Lyme, where we'll do the same thing.
Oh, I
That
have
would
one.
fill up as well. We'll manage that.
One more clarification. How much land did you say we have coastline of?
We, about a mile and a half. If you
And-
go from,
and You say Crescent Beach?
well, no,
That's-
not Crescent, if you start at McCook, where Crescent meets McCook, right at the
Right,
Frank's Wall.
yeah, but-
And then you go, it's approximately 1.5 miles all the way to Cheeseman.
Right, because Crescent Beach is privately
Right.
owned. Those houses on the water are privately owned
Right, I was talking from
beaches.
Frank's Wall, everybody knows
Yeah.
what Frank's Wall is, yeah.
Mhm, okay.
And just further, trying to describe the use we see, this is going to be a venue that could be used for theater, it could be used for bands, it could be used for
Orchestras.
right.
Movies, plays.
Variety of
Yeah.
things. Is there, I remember from when they had the concerts in the summer a few years ago, there was some sort of rule, it might have been the special recreation zone about alcohol,
Yeah, there's no alcohol allowed in the park.
period.
Period. That's in the
Okay.
deed,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Right, that's what I had heard, it's in the deed.
It's in the deed, no alcohol is
Okay.
permitted, it's in the
Sorry.
Cook Point deed.
No alcohol
On
is
town
allowed to be served on town property. Full stop, end story.
Okay, so this is not something unique to the McCook parcel.
No.
And that special recreation area of 500 feet setback, that is not related to the alcohol policy?
No, that's right, all of McCook.
What is it, what is that 500, what
It's-
is banned from the 500 feet?
There's actually nothing, it's just we have to take special care of the spring, if I can remember right, so
Mhm.
there's a spring there.
Yep.
The Cup Rock, if you're
Yep.
familiar with the Indian Cup Rock,
Mhm.
with the memorial cross.
Yeah.
In the grounds,
Okay.
is the way the deed works.
In
So-
the grounds.
In the grounds, so we have to cut and maintain the grounds.
Right. Which is one of the, probably a minor cost, but it was a huge change of the character of the park for me, was when you guys
That was
cleared.
before I started, but it was great. Yeah,
Yes.
it's absolutely, what a great,
Yes.
yes, that was all brush and.
And it was,
Filled in.
yeah, very simple scope of work, but I think it tied the park together, it made it feel safer.
Made it beautiful, absolutely.
Presently, do you see any reason why the park would be open after dark ever?
No, only for special events, celebrate East Lyme with the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'll get a special request in, if someone has a wedding or birthday party and they wanna go later, they have to get Park and Rec Commission approval before we allow them to go after dark. So
Okay.
I would say 95% of our events are done by sunset.
This came up with Whitegate Farm, didn't it? About a 10 o'clock shut off?
Correct.
Yeah, we won't, yeah.
Okay.
We'll adhere to the noise ordinance, the
Okay.
town's noise ordinance that they put in a couple years ago.
Very well, so unless there's further questions or comments, at this point, I'd like to get a motion started. Once again, the format would be, the planning commission finds the application of the town of East Lyme for a special permit for a proposed amphitheater, consistent or inconsistent with our plan of conservation and development. And our typical protocol is to substantiate that finding of it being consistent or inconsistent with some language from the document or some comments as to our reasoning. Because again, this is a format of a report that goes to zoning, which zoning weighs in their own domain. They can choose to ignore it or they can choose to embrace it. So by providing more than